Draft here, joining us again in beautiful Bellevue, Washington, at the Zekin Live Studio. I'm here with the one and only Lofa Tatupu, six-time, 6-year pro, all the things that matter. Great tackler, great guy, and also we want to bring in our friend, fan favorite, Mr. Scotty Lawyer. I don't want to talk him up too much. I saw what jacket he's wearing here today. We won't mention it, but keep it above. He had to do it.
That's all right. I flexed on him too. I got mine.
Well, welcome though. It's glad to have you back, Scotty.
Thank
despite you. What the people are saying, we brought you back another time. But we do appreciate your insight and background and everything. Former UW grad, Don James Award winner, and also just been on it on both sides. So was there when Atavus was working with University of Washington, so learned some of the technique there, and then came on to Atavus as one of our key analysts, and now runs the entire analytics team and coaches for us at Atavus. So welcome, Scotty. Good to see you, man.
Thank you for having me. You excited today?
Yeah, I'm excited too, man, because we talk about we've talked about a lot on the show, but this week it's the fun. It's the guys you don't hear a lot about, right? Like, so the sleeper picks, the surprise picks. So we're gonna go deep into it. Lofa, this is kind of how this all got started, with Lofa talking about his skill in finding the gems.
So I don't want to brag. Found a couple gems in my day, but yeah, the sleeper picks. I mean, I guess we can get right to it if you want. Is that what we have queued up?
No, let's see what we got, man. Let me do a little plug-in. I got a plug here. I'm going to plug my guys Zone In first and foremost. We just had a great story here, of a grandma using Zone In because she's just a fan. She's a 12 and she loves what you're doing.
And it works, right?
And it works.
I'm pretty sure it was the topical. She likes the topical, and I used it on my knees after basketball this morning. So it's helping me, put me back together, and it's helping me get back out there and stay active. Because movement's our best medicine, everybody.
Absolutely.
But we're just here to help you recover.
Yeah, keeps the joints lubricated. So so we'll thank Zone In and Lofa for all they do. Obviously, we're here at the Zekin Live Studio, so we want to thank our partners at Zekin, and then Synergy Sports. We're big fans of what they do. They've had a ton of experience on the basketball side, and then moving now into football. So we're excited to have them on as a partner as well. The sleeper picks though. We talked a little bit about Atavus and kind of what we do. I just wanted a little reminder, if you have any questions, please write it in on the ZLS platform. If you're on YouTube or Instagram, click the link and come on over here and you can ask questions. But we do want to jump right into it. Film study. We're going to start with Lofa and Lofa's picks as we go through some film study.
My value picks, right? People sleeping on the big guy from Iowa State.
I'm gonna let you say his name.
Ioma Uwazurike. Hope I got that right, my man. But here, he's coming on a stunt right here, and it's kind of worked into a natural. And this guy is 6'6", 320 pounds.
Yeah.
For him to be able to wrap and move like that is absolutely insane. And so you love the athlete on top of a guy. There is a nose tackle. See, as he gets upfield, they're walling the line to left, and that's a very heads up. So it shows not only athleticism but instinct.
Yeah.
And then here, he's playing nose again, and he kind of backdoors. You don't want to get beat to the front, but in a 3-4, which is what they predominantly play, you can play backdoor 2-gap if the linebacker goes over the top. And so he just shows off his quicks here, comes backdoor and makes a tackle for loss. And this is a guy that played all over the line: DN, 5 technique, 4-eye, 3. I mean, with that kind of background, and it's incredible the value he adds.
Yes, I absolutely agree. And Scotty, we're gonna need your help here on this one, man.
I got you. So the strength, rare size and strength. He's versatile and has good burst with a special athlete for his size. And he's hard to move. He's a brick. And then when it comes to his weaknesses, he has lack of use of hands at times, and sometimes he taking on blocks. But I love this. Your tackle style is the Undertaker. He buries most ball carriers. Very fitting. I like that one a lot.
Oh man, it's gotta hurt. 6'6", 320 falling on you, but
Yep.
But
That
yeah,
kind
you
of
know,
movement.
the weakness it's just maybe that he doesn't have a natural position to find home, call home, but I mean, it's incredible. He can play all of them really well. So anybody's getting a steal with that
I was
guy.
going to say he's going to add value wherever he goes. With that, ability to go across the line, versatility, is a huge thing when it
The
comes
more
to
you can do,
more
as
you
they
can do.
say.
Right. So next up, we got here LSU.
Damone Clark. And if you follow college football, LSU for the last half decade or plus has been putting out phenomenal ball players. Now I know this probably goes against that of his style. he just went after it though. They were giving him. He had 19 tackles in this game. Let's just start there. That is an insane amount of production for anybody.
That's a game,
right? It might be my two best games in college.
Yeah, right.
But here they read two pullers to the right. He takes a hesitation step. That's good eyes, and they were really giving him some tough things to see, because I've seen in reports saying that kind of undisciplined or can get lost with his eyes and lead to false steps. But when he sees his ability to go, like you'll see here, his range, and this is what I was saying. They sent the lineman straight up to him. Now, Scotty, we think that's a run. Mm-hmm. And it was clearly a pass. And so right here, just he jams, uses his hands, gets off the block, and then the close right here. That's Matt Corral, the quarterback. That's a very good athlete that's expected to go high.
Yep.
Yeah. And he closes space.
Closes space. Yeah. And I think he was like a 4'5" guy, 6'3", 240. I mean, these guys are just bigger, faster, stronger every year. But I mean, that's insane. And to move like that, unbelievable.
I like it though. Well, let's jump to scouting report, Scotty.
Yep, Damon Clark. So strength, he has that size, really elite range and athleticism, and also his demeanor. I think as a linebacker, you got to bring it every day, and that showed up on film from what I saw. Then some of his weakness, like Lofa mentioned, his eyes at times can get misleading. But, as you know, sometimes you can make up with it with really good speed. And also his experience. He's only started one game and had some surgery, some injury history in the past. But his tackle style is a seek and destroy. So he flies around. He's like a missile.
I like that one.
Oh, my God.
He hunts you down. So he has some good ones, Lofa.
It was so much fun watching this kid's film. I mean, and you wonder why he wasn't starting. And I know they've had great linebackers the last several years, and that's probably the case. But you take with Deion Jones, Quan Alexander, Duke Riley, Devin White, and then the Pat Queen last year, just a year ago, 2 years ago. I mean, so you definitely lean towards they're putting out phenomenal
they're
players.
doing something right down there, right? Especially at that position. So I think that's and him flying around like that. I love the seek and destroy, man. Yeah, it's a high risk situation sometimes, but I think because of his athleticism, he's able to get away with it a little bit, and we can dig into it a little bit more, not having a ton of experience from a starting perspective.
Absolutely.
Moving on though, Damari Mathis.
5'11", 195 out of Pitt. He loves to stay at the line of scrimmage and press, much like our guy Sauce. Here. I was wanted to see how he'd fare pressing, because he does it all the time against the bigger receiver. I believe this is Justin Ross, 6'4", 205 from Clemson. And here, squares him up, turns, doesn't get, panic. And locates the ball. The only thing you maybe want to see here is maybe near sideline, right, fellas? That's what we always talk. So I'm questioning the eyes right there a little bit. But yeah, look at that. He played big. But he played big, and he high-pointed the ball. I mean, that's incredible for any cornerback. But, I really like watching this kid. 4.39 40. So he's got the top end speed. 43 and a half inch vertical.
Oof, explosive,
and
right?
Then,
so, he can go up and get it.
And a little attitude right here, Look, he sees crack replace. That receiver's going up to get the safety. He knows, okay, it's not a route. Most corners, no. Do most corners show, though? I don't know. So right here. I was loving this. It just comes off inside the numbers, and he makes the tackle. And he actually does it with pretty good form, Scotty.
Yeah. Same foot, same shoulder right there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. So Mathis, his strengths are he's a freak. He has freak athleticism, and he has very quick twitch. He's a tough and competitive playmaker, which is always great. You want that on the outside, especially at the next level, especially when you're undersized. You got to make up with it, with that mentality. Some of his weaknesses you do have is he's over aggressive at times. Sometimes he's not. He plays a little bit too much with his hands, and then sometimes his game speed doesn't match up to his 40 time, which again is sometimes that happens a bunch. But overall, he's definitely a sleeper pick for sure. But I like what I saw on film. Oh yeah, tackling style, whatever it takes, right? Whatever
Now,
it takes.
You can't forget that.
Yeah,
Whatever it takes.
tackle style, whatever it takes. And I say that I watched him literally take a guy down. They tried to stiff arm. He just grabbed the forearm and he just pulled him down. It was awesome because that's athletic and that's instinctual, really quick thinking. But he was not going to get stiff armed by that running back. It was incredible.
No, I like it, man. And it's true. Sometimes whatever it takes is whatever it takes, right? Like in the end, you got to get them down. We'll always look at technique and all those aspects of things, but if you're getting guys down consistently, it's something that you can just do over and over, right? If you can have that consistent action and behavior that you can repeat every time, we want it to be safe. We want it to be able to be predictable, but if you're getting them down, man, we're going to encourage that.
But you love, a kid that's aggressive. This is aggressive sport, right? This
absolutely.
is a collision, not a contact, but a collision sport. So, Atavus can school us up on all the details.
We can get into the details for sure. I think, great segment, great picks. A lot of guys there that we'll see their names called maybe a little bit later rounds. We'll discuss that a little bit. But first, we want to always get back to what we do here. And one of the great features of the Zeek Live platform is the donate feature. So you'll see that donate button there. And specifically, we're talking about Special Olympics. So we at Atavus and Zeekin would like to provide you with the option to donate during our show to Special Olympics Washington. Special Olympics Washington is a registered 501c3 nonprofit organization supported entirely by individual, corporate, and foundation contributions. To make a contribution, just click the donate button at the bottom of the video. You can choose your donation amount. It's that easy. That's it. Click the button. So as we're going, you think about, I had the pleasure of actually meeting one of the board members at Chris's house a couple weeks ago and hearing about what they got coming up this summer. So they're going to send a bunch of folks out to compete, and it's going to be exciting and fun for them. So really supporting, this idea around sport and everybody being able to participate. So click that button when you get a chance. Let's see where we at. Scotty, we're gonna head to you. This next segment, analyze that. So Scotty has new guys, new athletes in here. You're gonna walk me through and talk it up, man. So we'll get into analyze that. Who are we gonna start with, Scotty?
So the last couple of weeks, we had the luxury of really going through some high-profile guys, more predictable in terms of where they're going to land. But I had real fun with this segment. For the most part, we were really focusing on the tackling phase. But again, they really do focus. These guys do a lot of things well. I think when a team impressive what they provide for their team. So I believe we're going with Winfrey first. Yeah, we're going.
Yeah.
There you go, big guy in the middle. So former JUCO prospect, right? But this guy is like a wrecking ball. So right here, you're gonna see this pure power and strength. Sometimes you can't teach that, right, Lofa? So you can see from the Enzi copy. This is just pure.
That poor center.
Not the best pad level. I think that's something that really have a knock on him. But at the end of the day, when you got this in your bag, you can't coach that. Yeah. So I love that one against Nebraska. It was a pretty close game. And here it is, about 2 plays later. What I loved about him was that closer mentality. He sometimes with those bigger guys, when they're rotational pieces, they're not always in the game when it matters the most. But this is actually about 2 plays later. This guy is still involved making plays, and he lives in the backfield really. But what I like about this play is a nice little stunt right here, Lofa. And again, they say he's stiff in the hips, but he turns the corner, he runs the loop.
Yeah, nice
the hustle.
Shuffle step right there. I like that. Footwork.
Like that turning of the hips, change of direction. This one showed up a bunch, right? I think we talk a lot about that highlight clip.
Yeah.
This is great, and this is great. You want this on the highlight, but in perspective, I want to get into this one because there's not a lot of talking about, especially when you hear it nowadays all the time when there's a helmet-to-helmet or like a high hit. The commentators always say, "Oh, what to do in that situation?" Well, Atavus really does pride ourselves on being able to teach players and give them that tool. And right here, really, all he needs to do is kind of, as a quarterback changing his strike zone, he needs to have that awareness and striking, because the last thing you want to do is have one of your top players off the field, or maybe potentially, missing the next game because of a targeting call. So here, I love the nastiness, and I love the hustle, but we just want to strike a little bit lower. Watch this one, Lofa.
Yeah.
Ooh. He's sending the message, and I love that. But again, we want to focus on making it safer.
Yeah, let's check out the details.
The details, right? So the ITA, and this is, again, where these players kind of separate themselves. There's a lot to talk about where they might fall, but from a tackling perspective, Winfrey was one of our top-rated defensive linemen. He was second in terms of interior defensive linemen. The one thing that I really liked about him was that impactful tackles. So what I can remind you guys of that is really relative, how close are they making tackles relative to the line of scrimmage? Because, right, for a D lineman, you're going to have a lot of plays in the backfield you would hope for, so that number's going to kind of balance out. But also it talks about like forced fumbles and sacks and tackles for losses. So you can see right there that 81.5 impactful tackles is elite for us. We love to see that. Also, his effectiveness as well was elite at 81.5%. So all his tackles, he was giving up roughly 0 to 2 yards after contact. So his yak average is almost like Bobby Wagner status, 1.4. So one thing he could definitely work on, we saw a little bit in that previous clip, but that wrap element. So you go to the bottom right with his technique analysis, everything is damn near elite. I love to see it, but as you guys know, when it comes to defensive line play, it's about the finish, and the wrap is one thing that's going to help. That might be the difference between getting that quarterback down on third down and long, or whatever it may be. We just want him to be able to maximize that control a little bit better. But overall, I really like this prospect, and I think he's gonna do some big things to the next level.
Absolutely.
Very nice.
Looking forward to it. This one,
right,
you
so
like this guy. I know you're high on Bonito.
I'm high on Bonito. I think really he's climbing up the draft boards, but this guy's versatile. And he really reminds me, I don't want to let it out too early, but Lofa, Bruce Irving back in the day with Virginia in the early days with Seahawks. I mean, he's versatile, and he plays the run and the pass. Here's a great example of the run. Watch how I call him a slash. Watch this right here. Subtle, but he'll that tight end just bounces off him, and he makes a great leg drive, great strike right there. Cool. And they do knock him for his size, but he plays much bigger than that. I think he's going to do well at the next level.
Yeah,
I love this one.
Yeah.
Right. Again, they talk a lot about his finesse, right? He's a finesse player. But right here, you're going to see that power element come through. So watch the subtleness right here. He stems up field, Lofa. Watch this. And now he just hits him with that left stab right there. I mean, that's hard to do. Lofa knows. Slam him up field. He gets him on his feet. He gets him retracting. He's able to get that power and what you want. I mean, that's a really close game, and against Iowa State, he was able to close out again.
Yeah.
All right, Nick Bonito. So you see it right here, elite in all aspects. The one thing I really want to focus on is that performance. So to the top right, guys, that 100% performance. You might be thinking, damn, so he's perfect? No, doesn't mean he's perfect, but in terms of how we equate performance, it's a comprehensive score. So it really does separate, made and missed versus effective, because it's taking into consideration everything from his yards after contact and how well he executes every element. So again, that performance score is really a comprehensive score right there. And I think to the right, you'll see he pursues really well. He has great angles, but one thing he can't focus on is his power step. So his footwork into contact can sometimes be a little bit off, but he's able to make up with that for everything else he's able to do. And let's go to the left real quick. You guys see that yards before contact, his average is negative 1.2. So we haven't been doing this for a long time, but he lives in the backfield. But what's interesting about him is they drop him into space too as well. So you would think, that would bring up his number, but every time he has an opportunity, he's maximizing that in the backfield. And I love that for a player of his caliber. I think any team that gets him is going to truly be able to utilize his skill set wherever they put him. He's a versatile player that can definitely make an impact quick.
Yeah, I see we got a question there from Jordan about where we see Nick going in the draft. I know we'll get into some of that a little bit later, but what's kind of your first inclination in terms of where you mentioned he's climbing up the draft boards a little bit.
Yeah. So we'll talk about a little bit later on, but one is like, where do you put him, right? He's a true tweener, but what shows up on film is similar to Bruce Irvin. He's versatile. He can play off ball Sam, but he can really thrive in like a 3-4 outside linebacker role. But nowadays, the passing game is elite in the NFL. So what do you need? You need more guys that can get after the quarterback.
He
So
rushes.
those are at a premium. But I see him really going in the first, in that 2 to 3 round ratio. He might surprise us and go in the bottom of the first or early second, but I think that second to third range is right where we see Benito.
Yeah, you never know. Teams fall in love with the player.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Does he have the frame to put on 20 more pounds? Because Bruce Irvin was about 260 now.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I'm a former dog, but I got to show some ducks some love. I mean, Mikael Wright, he had a really good season a couple years back. He was all Pac-12. His production did drop a little bit this previous year, but overall, I think Oregon does produce some really good defensive backs in the last 5-10 years. They produce some good, solid corners. It's a great job in terms of that feistiness. He kind of reminds me of Matheson a bit, where he's a scrapper, is what I call him. He gets the guy down.
Yeah.
All right, here it is again, Lofa. Do you know or do you go? Here's one where he sees it. He gets off the block, and he does. It's ugly. It's an ugly tackle, but he comes up and he's willing to hit for his size. He's a little undersized, but he definitely makes up with it with heart. I think that's something that definitely gets overlooked sometimes. But I like him a lot.
The willingness,
The willingness, yeah. And it's a 2-yard gain,
Right?
We're stoked about that.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll take it.
All right, so let's get into Wright a little bit. So one thing we're looking at, let's take a look at his effectiveness. So you guys see it right there. Could definitely improve. But what's kind of contradicting that is his yak average. You see a good yak average of 2 yards. Well, the reason why that is, audience, is because that effectiveness is also looking at the tackle type the athlete's in. So what this means for us is that we're seeing a lot of times where possibly he's in like a profile, like angle or profile tackle, where we want to have like 1 to 0 yards after contact, but due to his footwork or his wrap or his punch, he's giving up 2 to 3 yards, right? And one thing he also does well of is staying in people's hip pocket. So as a corner, once the guy catches the ball, he's pretty much right there. So that will bring that number down and help kind of balance it out. But one thing you'll see that can really help him improve that tackle effectiveness is his punch and wrap, where he's able to more maximize that control and power right there. And then also his impactful tackles, you would like to see that a little bit higher. Because we haven't been doing this for only about a year, I believe, the impactful tackle, but I think it's a really unique metric where it talks about, again, just how much of a impact, but how much he changes the game, how disruptive the player is. So for a corner, that's going to come a little bit less, but he does, in that previous clip, he did get the ball out, so we'd love to see that. But he's a feisty competitor, and I really like him on film.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think, between all those guys, I mean, it's kind of a range, right? Range of guys from, different position groups, different conferences. But, you just never know. Like Lof said, as teams do the evaluation, they fall in love with guys, at different positions. And it might just be the right fit for what they're looking for at this time based on the makeup of their team and stuff. So, there's a lot to unpack there. And so, as we think about like this next idea in this next segment, we wanted to do something a little different. And go with kind of a big board mentality. So like our sleeper picks, but we're gonna, kind of take a step back and look at it from a big board and how would we evaluate, like, okay, what's the order, based on, these guys that you guys kind of went through, right? So, we'll jump into that here next, by, not in any particular, in a particular order. So what do you guys think though, with the guys we've looked at today, teams, rounds, how are we approaching this one?
Am I going first? You, me, or you,
You
Scotty?
go ahead.
Who
You go
wants
ahead,
to go?
Lo.
You want me to go? Okay.
Yeah.
So, Uwazurike, he's a guy that when I was watching, I looked at all the, top 100, top 200, really, because they had him outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they had him pegged as maybe a 4th, 5th round pick or 5th, 6th round pick. And what I saw in tape, playing every single position, You know, and we're gonna pull up some highlights right here so you guys can see the tape. Um, you can't. That value is incredible because if you ever get an injury, you can just move him over, you know, or in a draft or two later, if you got someone that's a great rush end, then now he's sliding, you know, away from 5 to he can be the 3 or the nose, and he fits every scheme. And that's why, you know, kind of sarcastically, I had all 32 teams could use this guy because who doesn't want all that value, right? As you look at the plays, he's just a rare. He reminds me a lot of Red Bryant.
Oh yeah,
a rare athlete for 325 pounds. And you ever seen Red on the basketball court? He could hoop, and I guarantee you this guy can too. But yeah, man, and he got better every year. He ended up with 9 sacks, which is rare for a predominantly nose tackle 3 technique. But that's what his production. He started off with 1 sack, 1.5, 3, and then 9 his senior year. And and he plays with that edge.
Yeah, he chose a good time to show out too, you know, going into that draft year.
So I'd expect him to go if 3rd, but no later than the 4th is where I see him.
All right. Well, next up on our list, we got Damone Clark.
Yeah, Damone, special athlete. I think the only thing that's going to hurt him is the injury. You know, he might miss. He had surgery. He might miss the whole season with neck fusion. And
we know somebody like that.
Yeah, and you know, and so it's you know, a lot of people. Some people have come back and still had success. You know, I remember Alexander from Oregon State several years ago. They put him. They know as a medical, but this kid is rare, size and speed, athleticism, and you know, only got that 1 year to start. But before the injury, I could see someone late 1st, early 2nd taking him. And because, you know, just the way he moves and how much he can do. And, you know, he's got 2 position value at Mike and Will. I think he's probably better suited for Mike because of his aggression, but he could play Will. He could run with anybody. He had an incredible wheel route where he picked it off. The guy had him beat. He closed like that, and he had the wherewithal to turn and locate and intercept the ball, which that's, I mean, just phenomenal. There you go. There's some chest. There's some Atavus, you know, shoulder chest, not the head.
That's a smart way to do it.
We'll
keep it going though.
And then, you know, this is my guy right here because look at that. You know, you love seeing him throw it in there. Damari Mathis, and what do you say? Okay, so he's, you know, corner, but I think he can also slide inside and play slot, and also later in his career, because of his aggression, you know where I'm going with this, Scotty, he could get back there and play safety. He just shows an incredible savvy as a you know, playmaker, you know, contesting every ball, a lot of interceptions, and I think where he was slotted to go 4th or 5th. And after he ran that 40 and jumped a 43.5-inch vert, and then,
a lot of eyes.
Yeah, and then exactly right.
Awesome.
So I could see him going in the 2nd round. And if someone falls in love, late 1st maybe. But they got a good amount of corners that are coming out this year too. So, but yeah, I just love the ball player that he is.
No, absolutely, man.
Love it.
So we're gonna bring it back to the big board after this. Let's take a look. I mean, we've covered a few of the guys already so far. And kind of where you see them going. You know, we got 3 more, and Scotty, we'll have you take a look at these next 3. But give us just an overall on what you see from these next 3 coming up.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. Yeah. So Winfrey. So what really came to me while I was looking at Bonito was like this dude number 8 kept on popping off the screen, and similar to our boy from Iowa State, I can't pronounce his name, but he reminded like a Vita Vea type. Like UW has produced some really good D tackles, especially nose tackles that can move. This guy's not in the he's disruptive, not the similar size, but he's a wrecking ball, kind of similar to like a Greg Gaines, right? I have to throw my boy some love, but he's kind of compact in a sense, but he I think he's gonna be a great rotational piece, if not a high potential starter, depending on the right fit, who gets him. But he plays with nastiness, and again, he popped off the screen a bunch. He makes plays right here. You're gonna see him come in the backfield, kind of ugly, but I mean, you want those type of plays. That's an example of that impact play where he's just blowing it up in the backfield, causing a fumble that turns into 2 points. You want that. And nowadays with you know, interior when in the NFL, you're able to rotate guys in and out, keep fresh bodies. So I think he can definitely thrive in that environment.
Yeah. What round do you think, Scotty? What round do you predict him?
It's tough. I've seen him go as high as the 1st, but I see Winfrey going in that 2nd to 3rd, preferably right in that 2nd range. I really like him, like a team like Las Vegas that has 2 nice ends with Chandler Jones and So Chandler
Crosby.
and Max Crosby, more of a 4-3 front where he can be at that 3 tech and really just be disruptive and
He
kind
moves
of
like Jaron Reed.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, so
we
know
got your guy here, Benito. What are you thinking here? Like, in terms of projection, round, team, like his style of play.
Okay, yeah. So Benito, again, I have him in that second to third, but he's one of the guys that I really honestly can jump up to the first round if someone's able to get over. Like, where do we put him? Because I think the right coach, Lofa, this, the right coach will put him in. That's going to thrive. And with him, he does have that versatility. Honestly, I believe he can definitely thrive in a 3-4 outside linebacker. But nowadays, you do have to have that designated pass rusher role in a third down, where in a 4-3 front, he could also do that. So imagine, again, I'm a Niner guy, but, lined up opposite of Nick Bosa, he could do that. Or you want to play him in more of a traditional 3-4 front, he can also drop into coverage and thrive there. So Benito is a true, not really a surprise pick, but I think he's going to be a sleeper where if he goes to the right team, he's going to be an instant impact.
We could line up across from Nick Bosa.
We could try that. Yeah. Take a little pressure off of you.
Yeah, he was a number 1 ranked edge tackler for us this last year. So,
right.
All right, our boy Wright. So Cal was a great game for him. Cal and Stanford, I believe. He had like 8 tackles in one of those games. He's just feisty. He comes up, not the best technique when it comes to tackling, but sometimes, on the perimeter, Lofa, it's about getting the guy down. Kind of like your boy Matt, he's a scrapper. He gets the guy down, not in conventional ways, but he does it all over the field. And I was watching Thibodeau, and this number 2 kept on sticking out, where he was like having 8s, 10 tackles in the game. I was like, damn, that's pretty impressive for a guy of his size. And he was so that's a good. He had some good volume in tackles, and also again, he was a first team All Pac-12 in 2020, I believe. So he has the tangibles, he has the resume. It's just about putting it on film every down. And a little bit undersized, and much like Mathis, I think he can definitely slide inside, but also play outside in like more of that traditional, zone team, like a Seahawks or even the Niners type scheme.
Okay. Yeah, man. So, as we're wrapping up kind of the big board, I think, we see quite a range here. Guys getting kind of projected in that mid-round. I think, Loaf, you really went at the guys that were really in that 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th range and seeing how teams can find value out of these players. There's a lot of options there for them, and it'll be fun to see where they end up, come draft day. And then same with you, Scotty, in terms of guys that are kind of moving up the draft board right now, from Winfrey to Benito. I think it's going to be, it's always, the draft is always like a crapshoot in a sense, right? Teams have their plans, but it changes as it goes on, especially in those mid rounds. So it's going to be interesting to see where teams end up, where guys end up once you start, guys start coming off the board. And if there's some early surprises or some trades up along the way, we can see some of these guys really, move up the draft boards, but also just really make an impact as they go into this next season.
Can I get one more name out there?
Oh, absolutely.
Devin Harper from Oklahoma State. Didn't get invited to the combine, ladies and gentlemen, and this kid is an absolute beast on the field. So, from not going to the combine, you would expect a guy to slide up to like, 6th round, maybe 7th, if he worked out great. He had a great workout at his pro day, but then the film doesn't lie. And I don't think this guy can go outside of the 3rd or 4th round. From not going to the combine.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. You guys have to pay attention on draft day.
Devin Harper.
Yep.
Devin Harper.
Beast.
Okay, State. Let me see what we got. So, I think throughout this series, it's all been football, tackling, defense. But, we've had this kind of continuous theme of the power of sport, right? Like the platform of sport and everything that it's done for us, in terms of, what we're doing with our lives now, why we're here talking to you about this. But I think just overall, to kind of wrap it up, I've always been inspired by, the words of great people and great men, and Nelson Mandela is one of those people, in terms of what he's represented in the world. And he was a big sports fan, right? Obviously, big rugby fan, cricket fan, all those things. But he always talked about how sport has the power to change the world. And I think we're seeing that now, how it's reflected in society in terms of the role of the athlete has changed, right? Because of the visibility and access that social media has allowed for, now the athletes have a voice, and they're making impact in much bigger ways than they have before. And it's, they're not just shutting up and dribbling or throwing the ball, or,
right.
and I don't think they should. I think, everybody has this platform. We all have this platform, and it's all about how you use it. And if you're using it for a positive purpose to make an impact in the world, and, no one is impacted. There's not been a lot of people who've impacted the world in the way that Nelson Mandela has. And I think he saw what we've experienced, right? He saw what sport can do in terms of uniting people, right? And uniting people from different races. And, I think that's one of the greatest things when you walk into an NFL locker room or a college locker room or anything, right?
My first locker room, Greek, Polish, African-American, Samoan.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't get much more diverse than that.
Yeah, right. And I think it helps you as you adjust to things outside of the football world as well. And as you go on and do other things in life, it makes you just more tolerant and more accepting and more inviting, of different cultures and people. So, it's always been a theme that we've followed throughout this series, and one that we believe in at Atavus is just using the platform of sport for good. And we're happy to do that. We're thankful that we have that ability. And I want to thank you guys for us putting this together, for Lofa for coming on here and sharing his thoughts, man, all the experience and stuff that you have. It's been fun to hear the stories, but the insight, it's been really great. And I think we're all going to be looking forward to seeing what happens come draft day with a lot of these guys, but also just following their careers, and seeing where it takes them from that point too. And then Scotty, same thing with you, man. We appreciate your time, the energy, the insight, all the work that you guys do. The guys here, at Zekin, for providing this platform for us. Kyle and team for all the work that you guys do in putting this together. Jake, all the work that Jake's been doing for us as an organization here, and for Atavus, our partners at Synergy, and obviously Zone In. So we're going to see what happens over the next couple of weeks, right? We may come back with another little special something for you guys. We'll see. We'll keep you up, but you got to pay attention. We'll send out emails, pay attention to our social media, both Zone In, Atavus, and Zekin. We'll be putting something out to let you guys know what's coming in the next few weeks as we lead up to the draft. But don't forget about us, and just remember that name. Tell them the name again.
Ioma Uwazurike.
Dang, he's Scotty. No, Scotty's not going to try.
and thank the viewers too. Thank you, everybody that zoned in. We appreciate you on the 5 episodes I think we ran. It's been a blast. Zeke and Synergy, Atavus, everybody, man. Thank you so much for this honor and opportunity. And Scotty and Carrie, my brothers, love you guys. Appreciate you. Love the brotherhood, power of sport. That's what it's all about.
Exactly. You see it here in full force, man. So thank you guys again. Thanks to the audience, you guys. Take care. Have a great week.